Yes or no? Can you design your dream yourself? Yeah, if you want to design your dream, first try to design your dream that you want to see the dreams of Krishna. Yeah, possible? Can people in general see the dreams of Krishna? Can you try all the mistake, whatever tips somebody give to you to see the dreams of Krishna? Is it possible? Possible. If you take some tips from from some doctor to see the dream of Krishna, will it be possible? See, dreams acts from Vasana. What is Vasana? Vasana is called impressions. Where do we get these impressions? These impressions we get from life after life. Whenever we engage in multiple activities of sense enjoyment, then we develop attachment towards that. That is a bondage towards that, a attachment toward that, to repeatedly enjoy certain sense gratifications. Enjoying tendency is not bad. Enjoying tendency is your fundamental principles. Among the fundamental principles, the top three fundamental principles are Sachidananda. So Ananda is the pleasure potency that we all are designed to expect pleasure. But expecting pleasure is not that good. Instead, one should get automatically this pleasure which is expected by giving pleasure. The principle established in spirituality is that giving pleasure to others and primarily to Krishna being the source of everyone who, when you water the root, the plants, the branches of the plant, twigs, flowers, leaves, everyone get rejuvenated. Similarly, when you try to please Krishna, not only you but also everyone else can be satisfied. The pleasure you get in exchange of offering enjoyment to Krishna is highest. Even the Supreme Lord is surprised to know the pleasure the topmost devotee get from him is millions times more than that him. 10 million times, 100 million times more than him. So that's how the pleasure comes from Krishna. So people in general are interested for sense enjoyment as the source of pleasure. Those who have not opened the eyes of spirituality to understand the truth behind the rationality, behind the scientific study, when one advances in looking the objects and subjects differently than the eyes of attachment of sense enjoyment. Whenever we see something, we can see with a different perception, right? Same subject can be perceived differently. A scientist see how, when, where all these questions are there. But a attached person sees how can I enjoy that? How can I suppose a nice food stuff? Scientists see how this jalebi, how this jalebi, this sweet syrup is entered inside, how it is swollen, the process, what process happened. What fermentation happened, how this crispy comes, yet the water syrup goes inside. Scientists think differently, but ordinary person will think, yeah, I will go and test the jalebi. That is the difference. For every object there will be a difference of perception, varieties of perception based on our thoughts, consciousness. So when we try to see the reality and beyond the reality, what is happening, reality beyond rationality, when we look into rational thinking and beyond rational thinking, then we go deeper. So same thing should be applied. What we are enjoying or suffering, not only we have to apply rationality, but also we need to apply this study of these subjects which are not objective in matter. Like objective in matter are certain things where you can apply your five senses and then perceive certain things, examine certain things, manipulate certain things, but you cannot do that to subjective matters such as mind, intelligence, identifications. We cannot do all that. So that you yourself, when experience it, when you study your experience, when you analyze your experience, only you can do that. However, another person can help you to realize, but you can take assistance from others' realizations, others' experience, yet you have to experience it. So it is completely that you have to own the science of experiencing the subjective study. In science, there are two kind of study: subjective study, objective study. So dream, when we talk about dream, why we dream? Dreaming is a very natural principles that whatever we have in our consciousness placed as a vasana from long time, when all these bodies are in rest, this vasana takes a subtle body. In that subtle body, it try to enjoy what it is searching for. And in this state, only the mind, intelligence, and false ego works. So mind, intelligent, and false ego creates a body, give guidance to that body, and try to enjoy from that body. So in dream, you have a subtle body. And in dream, you are assuming a body. And in that, you are acting, you are experiencing, you are enjoying, and you are suffering. That all goes on. So all are coming from subconscious state. So coming back to the original question, can you plan your dream? Answer is very difficult but possible. When you reprogram your subconscious state, but you cannot actively plan your dream. You have two kind of state of your consciousness. One is active state, another is subconscious state. Subconscious state drives 100% in your dream. But when you are alive, when you are active in daytime or working time, like, so your still subconsciousness play major role of your thought, consciousness, mind keep on working on the things, right? But your active consciousness has role of 5% to change your usual behavior to a planned behavior, to a political behavior, to a customized behavior. Your usual nature is not honesty, but you may act or pretend to be honest. And your intention behind showing honesty is some dishonesty, possibly. All this political game you can play in active consciousness, but not in subconscious state. If all that in your vasana, then this political behavior will also play in the dream. So this active consciousness is a driver of 5%. 95% driver is subconsciousness. So our entire thoughts, actions, what we do through mind, through word, and through the body are all happening due to this subconscious states. So reprogramming the subconscious state is possible, but scripture recommended Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya. When you Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya means when you serve a bona fide representative of God, and the bona fide representations of Shastra is Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. When you read, analyze, remember, contemplate on the subjects of Srimad Bhagavatam, when you hear, act, and serve as per the association of spiritual authority or spiritual master, then your subconscious reprogramming happens with spiritual values. Then your active consciousness can really change something. Transcending three modes of mental nature is not otherwise possible. So this vasana is programmed with three modes of mental nature. Unsuitable environment, sometimes sattva become prominent, sometimes raja, sometimes tama. Same person sometimes act in the influence of tamaguna, sometimes acts in the influence of sattva. Sometimes a person who is claiming to be a devotee can act in tamaguna or can act in sattva. Gunasraya bhakti. Bhakti can be nirguna, bhakti can be gunasraya. Traigunya Visaya Veda, Nistraya Guna Bhavarjuna, a neophyte, takes shelter of guna, and with the guna he tried to serve. However, by gradually serving Krishna, he can transcend from Triguna to Nistraya Guna. That should be the objective, not that one should be influenced by the guna. Gunasrita bhakti means suppose you are taking the shelter of tamaguna, like doing the devotion to Krishna but not giving up the sins. Like minimum sin, like you must give up is four regulative principles. Ditam, striyam, panam, suna, chaturvedha, papam, varjit. This kind of four pillars of the sin. What are they? Ditam, striyam, panam, suna. Dita means gambling, striyam means illicit sex with women. Panam. Panam means intoxication. Suna means eating the flesh of others. These are the four pillars of the sins. One must preserve the four pillars of religion by preventing these four pillars of sins. Satya daya, Satya daya tapaha suci. Satya get destroyed. The truthfulness get destroyed by gambling. Daya get destroyed by meat eating. Tapasya get destroyed by intoxication. And suchi, or the purity, get destroyed by association with women in an illicit manner. So that he is practicing devotion, trying to please Guru and Krishna, but has not given up sins, is in the mode of tamoguna. What is in Rajaguna? He is practicing the dharma, stopped adharma, stopped sin, but has the intention to enjoy the material subjects, desire of sense enjoyment, sense gratification is in Rajaguna. And person has given up all sorts of sins, even given up the desire of sense enjoyment, but having the false ego of the knowledge is in Sattva. The Gyani, Guni, Brahmanas, all these top class peoples, even though they are spiritually or religiously advanced, practicing religiosity, a great priest can recite all the Vedic mantras, but has not given up the false ego of knowledge, and so that binds with the body, me and mine. You can see what a surprising thing. Jnaninam nitya vairinam. This false ego is the greatest enemy of the Jnanis. Jnana is that which destroys false ego, but what a surprise! These Jnanis are so impacted, deeply impacted by this false ego. What is a big surprise? Jnana is to eradicate false ego, but how? Elevated in reading all the scripture, remembers the scripture, talk the scriptures, but yet cannot overcome false ego. This is the surprise, the power of three modes of mental nature. So those devotees are in the category of Sattva. Even demigods falls into this category. And tough scholars who are practicing devotion, not doing any sins, but they can commit aparadha. In false ego, they mistreat or they undermine, underestimate others, and blaspheme others. So aparadha is very dangerous. Sins can be resolved easily by the mercy of Lord, but aparadha cannot. So anyway, there is danger in all three modes of mental nature. Whether you are remaining in Swargalaka or in this world, whether you are remaining in Sattaguna or in other three modes of nature, all are material. That continues the attractions for sense enjoyment, and you will follow a life after life, attractions toward wife, children, family, me and mine, my country, my home, my village, my city, my state, philanthropic, all this can come in a various grades. Like some philanthropic thoughts will develop in Sattaguna. But what is the real philanthropic? That is beyond Triguna. Real philanthropic is that to bring back all the souls to their original house of happiness. Original house of happiness is the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. And that happiness you cannot give by any mean. If you give entire wealth of the world, if you give entire all the enjoyments, right? Women, wealth, whatever form of enjoyment, if you give a person to the fullest possible, still he'll not be happy, because this happiness are very meager, and they are mixed with reactions. जे ही संस्पर्श जा होगा दुख जनय एवते आदि अंतवंत नते सुरमते बुद्ध. Sober person, a devotee should not enjoy material pleasures, because there is beginning and end, and there is reactions, and such of pleasures are antavanta. There is end to that. So our subconscious mind need to be reprogrammed. Until It is not reprogrammed, it will act in its own behavior. So it will keep on dreaming, and this entire life is nothing more than a dream. 100 years or 60 years or 80 years, how much you live, this entire things, if you calculate in terms of the life of Brahma, what is the value of it? Calculate the life of Brahma. What is the life of Brahma? What is the life of one day of Brahma? Do you know? One day of Brahma. In one day of Brahma, 14 Manu come. How many? 14. Right? Okay. In 14 Manu, each Manu is having 71 quadruple of Yuga. Yuga. Called Chaturjuga. So each Chaturjuga is 43.2 lakh. Right? That means one day of Brahma is equal to 43 lakh. No, not in lakh. Okay. So 43,000 lakh. So what is that total value? 43,000 lakh means 4.3 billion, right? 4.3 billion. So 4.3 billion is the day of Brahma. Then what is the night of Brahma? Again 4.3. 8.6 billion years is the life of one day of Brahma. 8.6 billion and 60 years. What is the percentage? So if you find the percentage of 8.6 billion, of 60 years, right? It's negligible. 0.00 something you get, right? So like that, the lifespan of a human being is very meager in front of the life, even one day of Brahma. What to speak of all the 100 years of Brahma? Means 8.6 billion into 3,000, 3,365 into 100, right? Then 36,500 is the days Brahma lives. 36,500 day Brahma lives, right? So, what is the total years Brahma lives is 314 trillion years. 314 trillion years Brahma lives. And our life is 60 years. What is the value of 60 year in front of 313 or 14, 314 trillion years? So if you see, this life is very short, very, very short. And similarly, the dreams you get in a day is not that short. Compare the hour of your dreaming span and compare your life with Brahma's life. Even your dreaming span is more than that. So if you compare the life of Brahma, then this is a very short time. Like the time you see a bubbles come and bubbles goes. Even if you compare your entire life with Brahmaji's life, that will be even less than that. So this is very, very insignificant. Our life is like a dream. This dream, when ends, what are the impressions we get after the dream, that are important. Even in the dream, sometimes we enjoy and sometimes we suffer. That is useless. Like suppose a tiger attacked you in the dream. As soon as your dream breaks, then you never fear that, oh, the tiger was attacking me. When you are coming in knowledge, the fear of tiger attack gone. Even in your dream, you have seen the tiger has jumped over you and putting his nail, tearing your body, bloods are oozing out. All these fears are there. But when you are coming in knowledge, no such fears. So those who are practicing Krishna consciousness are able to reprogram their subconscious mind, intelligence, and identifications. They can control even their dreams, and they can regulate their dreams, and they remain unaffected by the activities of the dreams, and same in their actual life. So guna asraya, with guna asraya, we travel in various desires, one after the other. So, and sometimes in a dream, sometimes a dream like body, temporary body. But the essence is that what are the impressions we are rectifying? Are our impressions is simply remembering the name, form, qualities, and activities of Krishna, or it is simply engaged in subject matter of sense enjoyment? This material life is not our real home. Our real home is the abode of Krishna, which is Golaka. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Goloka eva nivasati akhila atma bhuto. All the souls should reside in this planet of Golok Vrindavan. Those all are liberated. They are called Nitya, Siddha. Their portion is three times more than ours. They all are liberated because they have chosen Krishna to the source of their transcendental pleasure. But we have chosen Maya and becoming owner of Maya and getting a direct sense enjoyment as a source of enjoyment. So we have been given this chance of dreaming various life based on our desire. One after other forms, 84 lakhs of species are there. So we have to go one after the other based on our desires to fulfill our desires. But while doing that, when we come to the real knowledge that they are all useless, temporary, and I can utilize this opportunity to engage this body for the pleasure of Krishna, and gradually he will come out of this influence of the guna, become Nishtray guna, above three guna, is Shuddha Sattva. And the devotee is neither attached to jnana, karma, or dhyana, nowhere. He simply desires the pleasure of Krishna. Karmi, jnani, are yogis who are not freed from the attachment of sense enjoyment, simply bind himself with either false ego or with material objects or with siddhi. Yogis are attached to siddhi, jnanis are attached to false ego, that I am great. Karmis are attached to sense enjoyment. So karmi, jnanis and yogis, after long time, gets material elevations. But those jnaninam, bahunam janmanam ante, jnanavan mam prapadyante, they take long time. If they comes to the shelter of Krishna, such liberated people through the process of jnana or karma or yoga can finally get Madhbhakti. Madhbhakti labhati param. But those who take shelter of Krishna, dadami buddhi jogam tam jena mam upajanti te. Those who take the direct path of devotions under a bona fide spiritual master, nasayami ज्ञान दीपेन भास्वता नाशम आत्मभावस्तु ज्ञान दीपने भास्वता. By giving the spark of knowledge, Krishna himself destroy their ajnana. Those who takes this direct path of devotional service. Why to travel in this jnana, karma and yoga? So if you see gunas, that jnanis are in sattva guna, karmis are in rajaguna, and these siddhi followers sometimes they're tamasic, sometimes a yogi interested is in tamasic siddhi, they're not to be called as yogi. Anyway, like demons were having such siddhis, siddhis are useless. And nowadays you can see some tantrics, they're claiming themselves to great, or sometimes they worshipped as God and people are following him. There are many tantrics doing all this. So these paths are all troublesome and ends with repeated birth, death, old age, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, dukkha. A person who is real wise should come out of this problem, should solve this problem, should understand this. So that need the reprogramming of mind, intelligence, false ego. So there are many systematic study required, like studying consciousness. One should understand that there are limitations in objective study of the consciousness, such as hard problem, such as the limits of sensory problem, sensory knowledge, the binding problem. Like at a time, suppose we see a flower, right? Its smell, its color, and its look, um, all these like are if you try to represent through neuroscience, they are in different place. How they are getting binding? Certain things like when you study with rationality, you will find a limitations. Then when you go beyond rationality with subjective science, with quantum, all this, you will find a clue that the realization can happen through the practice of divine axioms presented in our scriptures, Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, that we are soul, part and parcel of Supreme. So we have naturally acquired consciousness, which is having Sat, Chit, and the Ananda, is influenced by Vasana due to repeated involvement in the objects of senses. And now it is the time that let me study well what made me this deception into the sense enjoyment into these perceptions, and how can I come out of these things? So, this Vedic scientific wisdom together can elevate our insights further and come out of material identity to pursue the dreamlike human form in studying the synthesis of science and spirituality, and elevate ourselves from this platform to a true conscious platform to understand the real meaning and purpose of human form of life is to remain in the relationship with God, acting in the relationship of the God, and getting the love or happiness from the God. That is the mature process of realizations, devotions, and science of getting happiness. Hare Krishna. Yes, completed. You can ask any questions, sir. Any questions? No questions?